Ich kann nicht anders, als ich tue.
Ein wenig ja, Ihre Augen machen mir Angst.
Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Adolf Hitler wakes up in the 21st century in 2014. He quickly attracts media attention, but while Germany finds him funny and charming, Hitler makes serious observations about society. Check the title of the movie in the description. The movie opens in Berlin during World War II. Proud Hitler meets a behavior coach. Hitler vehemently opposes how people treat him. He expresses his opinion that although the Nazi salute may be considered outdated, he believes that people should still raise their hands up to the wrist as a sign of respect. Then he proudly announces that he has taken every conceivable measure to eliminate the enemy's core in Germany, yet he believes they still exist in the country. He wakes up lying on the ground in the middle of a garden, an unexpected event. He stares at the sky, notices the absence of enemy planes, and guesses that they may have decided to rest. He stops and goes towards a building on the other side of the bush. 3 kids then approach him and ask how he is doing, while Hitler believes that they have the potential to shape the nation's future. As he inquires about the street's directions, a reporter named Fabian Savatsky begins filming the kids with his camera, positioning Hitler in the background of the image. He takes off his military cap and plans to visit the Führer's bunker. As soon as he walks, Hitler is fascinated by the young people who effortlessly cruise the streets on scooter. He notices people filming him and expresses his disbelief at how society has gone mad, even though the war is over. While he was stunned by the city and his surroundings, a modern car catches his eye, and he wonders if he was in a coma and lost the victory. He becomes aware of his lack of understanding of his surroundings and decides to gather more information. He tries to find out what is going on by asking people and then inquires about the Chancellor's residence, only to encounter a request for a photo from them. While they take one photo after another, he becomes increasingly agitated by the constant barrage of camera flashes. Looking completely confused, he concludes that things are out of control here. He encounters a woman having a conversation and then approaches to investigate, but she panics and sprays Hitler in the eyes with pepper spray. As tears well up in his eyes, Hitler experiences intense pain and his vision blurs. He goes to a nearby newsstand to find out the real truth. Suddenly he sees the date October 23, 2014, written in the magazine. He is completely stunned and falls to the floor in disbelief. Elsewhere, the head of a TV channel, Karner, praises Christoph Sensenbrink for his outstanding performance as deputy. While he assumes that he will be chosen as the CEO, Karner reveals that another employee, Mrs. Katja Bellini, will take over the role of CEO, and Christoph feels displeased with the surprise. He reaches his office and vents his frustration at his filmmaker, Fabian. Guards fire Fabian and force him out, despite Fabian's best efforts to convince his boss. After some time, Hitler wakes up in the newsstand and asks the owner for the current date. He realizes that it is really 2014. Feeling disoriented, he starts to question his surroundings, speculating that the shopkeeper might have kidnapped him, believing it to be a cunning plot by the enemy's secret service. However, the shopkeeper responds by offering him a simple chocolate, and after a struggle, he opens it and sniffs it. He introduces it as industrially pressed grain and asks if there is still a shortage of bread in the country, while the shopkeeper assumes that Hitler is an actor. Hitler stumbles upon a Turkish newspaper, and the shopkeeper informs him that many of his customers are Turks. He is surprised by the presence of Turkish people in Berlin and starts collecting information from newspapers. When he reads it, he concludes that the war was not won in the past and expresses his deep disappointment in the presence of Poland, ultimately believing that the war was completely pointless. Meanwhile, Fabian looks at his video report on kids playing football and is very upset about losing his job. While his mother attempts to calm him down, she suddenly notices something in his video and requests that he pause it. For Fabian, seeing a person who looks a lot like Hitler is very exciting, and he considers this an opportunity. On the other side, the shopkeeper respectfully asks Hitler to clean his clothes because they smell unpleasant. Hitler inquires about the availability of another uniform, as he finds himself in a rather vulnerable position without one. He goes to the dry cleaner and takes off his clothes to wash, including his shorts, making the old shopkeeper laugh. Then Hitler returns to the stall, wearing his jeans and jacket. Meanwhile, Fabian miraculously finds him. It turns out that he has been patiently waiting for him. Fabian invites Hitler to join him on his trip to document the parade in contemporary Germany, and he seems to agree with this idea. After getting some money and a car from his mother, Fabian embarks on an adventurous journey with Hitler. In a hotel, Hitler gets angry that the TV channels only show entertainment because he sees TV as a tool for propaganda. He travels to different places and interviews people about their views on politics, and after the interviews, he realizes that democracy hasn't had much of an effect on people while he's gone. He observes a sense of repressed resentment and anger among people, reminiscent of the 1930s when people shared similar views but lacked the phrase political disenchantment. People informed Hitler about the issue of immigrants in the country and forced Hitler to express his belief that racial differences are ineffective. One day, Fabian inquires about the origin of Hitler's distinctive mustache, and he explains that he trimmed his mustache to better accommodate a gas mask. The breed of German Shepherd dogs excites him, and when they go to buy a dog, he gets very angry at the dog's behavior and brutally kills it. Fabian blames him and takes the gun from him. During the trip, Fabian finds himself in financial trouble. However, he comes up with a clever plan to solve his problem by convincing passers-by to have Hitler draw their sketches. Hitler's hidden talent for drawing ironic pictures amuses people so much that they are willing to pay for it. They resumed their journey after collecting enough funds. Back in the city, Fabian shares a video of Hitler with Christoph, which has gotten a lot of views and is very popular among users. Christoph is surprised by the video's number of views and asks Fabian about Hitler. After confronting him, Christoph quickly realizes that Hitler is completely unhinged and immediately asks Fabian to take him out. But he unexpectedly enters the board meeting and offers to cooperate in saving Germany. Intrigued by the concept, Bellini investigates his plan. She immediately instructs her aide to arrange a suitable television format to broadcast Hitler's thoughts on listening to his ideas. Fabian gives Christoph a strict ultimatum. If he does not hire him, he will take Hitler with him. Hearing this, he offers her a position as a kitchen maid with the promise of a promotion in the new time. Later, the TV studio gives Hitler a desk, and Christoph enlists Kromeyer's help to teach him how to use the computer. Seeing a computer, he praises supercomputers as one of the greatest inventions of his time. Kromeyer tries to register an email account for Hitler but discovers that his name is already in use. Hitler expressed his frustration with others using his name and suggested using the Reich Chancellor's name to create the account, as he was very fond of him. As they playing squash, Christoph has an amazing devises a brilliant plan. He intends to feature Hitler in the popular live comedy show Whoa Dude. Witzigmann, the host of the popular show, fears that he will lose popularity because of Hitler's appearance, but the show starts anyway, and he invites Hitler to join the stage. In an unexpected event, as soon as Hitler locks eyes with the audience, the entire hall falls silent. He belatedly breaks the silence, deviating from the script and explaining that he was going to share a joke but decided not to. He claims that television is a remarkable human invention but dismisses broadcast programs as nonsense and focuses on issues such as poverty and unemployment, predicting that the country's people are unwittingly heading for a dark future. Hitler is determined to take over the television industry, and the crowd enthusiastically accepts his speech and cheers him on. Witzigmann is jealous of Hitler's growing popularity, and Bellini, on the other hand, asks Christoph to use Hitler in all episodes. He is quite upset by the unfortunate outcome of his plan. Hitler appears on various television programs and goes so far in interviews that he openly talks about his goal of reviving Germany. His popularity skyrockets, and he meets many people, including party leaders, and captivates everyone by sharing his brilliant ideas. On one particular day, Hitler and Fabian visited the NPD headquarters in Berlin. He meets Ulf Bern, the NPD's federal head, and asks about his cause's progress. After his speech, Hitler mocked him and declared that they had wasted a lot of time and caused the movement to go back decades because of their words. With the unexpected presence of the police and the district attorney in the television studio, Christoph's excitement and happiness are evident. The bailiff informs Bellini that someone has sued them for violating the hate laws, and Christoph suggests that they cancel the continuation of the Hitler program. However, the bailiff gives the green light to go ahead. Bellini breathes a sigh of relief. Christoph forces a smile in response. Kromeyer informs Christoph that a letter has arrived. A letter detailing the payback for the mishap involving Hitler and the dog that shot him during his trip. Christoph eagerly receives the letter, anticipating that it may enable him to take action against Bellini. Then, in a televised debate, the interviewer directly questions Hitler about his various roles in the war. While Hitler expresses his desire to connect with people, the interviewer insists that his actions lack justification. He shares a clip of Hitler shooting a dog, and the video upsets viewers. Hitler becomes enraged and threatens the presenter in a way that seems to affect his popularity in the community. Christoph is happy to see the negative reactions of others. The company's general manager fires Bellini after the disastrous interview, replacing her with Christoph. After that, Fabian takes Hitler to his home and, against his mother's consent, decides to let him stay there for a few days. Hitler gradually starts writing his second book, which he plans to release to the public soon. 3 months later, the team at the TV studio convenes to discuss the significant loss the company has suffered. Christoph holds out hope that Witzigmann's show could help them regain their footing, but his optimism quickly fades when an employee reveals Witzigmann's resignation. He becomes increasingly frustrated and angry with the elected officials for their failure to put on a popular TV show. One of the employees comes up with the idea of bringing back Hitler, which gets Christoph's attention. Once again, he approaches Hitler and proposes to Fabian, his new manager, that he will invest 1 million more than his competitors in their film, provided they grant permission for its broadcast on their channel. Hitler and Fabian then visit the Kromeyer home, where her grandmother knows Hitler well. According to her, Hitler was responsible for gassing and killing countless people, and she angrily accuses him of being a criminal and demands that he leave immediately. After leaving there, Hitler learns that Kromeyer is Jewish and begins to demean and dehumanize Jews, referring to them as small creatures. His hateful words against the Jews shocked Fabian. Since there is no past of Hitler, Fabian asks him to explain this, and Hitler also talks about waking up near a ball that he doesn't remember before. As night falls, Hitler leaves the complex and discovers a group of menacing men surrounding him. It seems that they are Hitler's opponents and plan to beat him. The next day, when he wakes up in a hospital bed, he finds himself face to face with Bellini. Meanwhile, Fabian, with curiosity and concern, reviews the video footage he recorded of the boys and their soccer skills, and realizes that he was awakened by an unusual explosion in that garden and makes sure that all this time he was on the side of the real Hitler. While he is completely surprised by the events that happened, he quickly reaches the place and discovers signs that assure him that he is the real Hitler. Fabian rushes to the hospital but finds that Hitler has been discharged, then tries to discuss this with Bellini. He claims that he is the real Adolf Hitler, but Bellini is still shocked by his behavior and anger. The guards of the hospital come to catch him, and he manages to temporarily escape from the guards, but his pursuit continues. When Fabian arrives on the scene, he pulls out the gun and points it directly at Hitler. When Hitler is asked about his identity, he explains that he never pretended to be someone else from the beginning. Fabian argues that he is deceiving the masses through his propaganda, while Hitler openly declares that in 1933 the people had fully accepted him as leader. Fabian leads him to the roof of the building with threats and boldly introduces him as a monster. Whereas, Hitler responded by emphasizing how ordinary people chose an extraordinary man and trusted him to shape the nation's destiny. Fabian, full of anger, pulls the trigger and causes Hitler to fall from the building, but to his disbelief, when he checks the street, he does not see a body. It didn't take long before Fabian was startled to hear Hitler's voice behind him announcing that no German could escape his presence. It turns out that this was all a shoot for the production of the film, as Bellini demands a cut in the studio, and the entire crew cheers for a successful shoot. Hitler then asks everyone to remember their comrades who could not be there for them. Elsewhere, Fabian is incarcerated in a mental hospital for his claims that Hitler was real, and Kromeyer watches him through a small hole in the mental ward cell and cries. After the success of the film, Hitler and Bellini happily meet fans, sign autographs, and give interviews. As they drive through the streets of the city, it seems that most of the people on the street have a certain admiration for Hitler and greet him warmly with respect, unlike the few who hate him. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.